want to know the facts. Now, friends, I'm just an average American. But I'm an American. And some of the things I see in this country of ours make my blood boil. Now I ask you, if we allow this thing to go on, what's going to become of us real Americans?
I've heard this kind of talk before, but I never expected to hear it in America.
This fellow seems to know what he's talking about.
What are we real Americans going to do about it? You'll find it right here in this little pamphlet.
Do you believe in that kind of talk?
I don't know, makes pretty good sense to me.
And I tell you, friends, we'll never be able to call this country our own until it's a country without. Without what? Yeah, without what? Without alien foreigners. Without Catholics. Without Freemasons. You know these people.
What's wrong with the Masons? I'm a Mason. Hey, that fellow's talking about me.
And that makes a difference, doesn't it?
These are your enemies. These are the people who are trying to take over our country. Now you know them. You know what they stand for.
Before he said Masons, you were ready to agree with him.
Well, yes, but he was talking about... What about those other people?
But in this country, we have no other people. We are American people.
What about you? You aren't American, are you?
I was born in Hungary, but now I am an American citizen. And I have seen what this kind of talk can do. I saw it in Berlin. I heard the same words we have heard today. But I was a fool then. I thought Nazis were crazy people, stupid fanatics. But unfortunately, it was not so. You see, they knew that they were not strong enough to conquer a unified country. So they split Germany into small groups. They used prejudice as a practical weapon to cripple the nation. Remember that when you hear this kind of talk, somebody is going to get something out of it, and it isn't going to be you.
Homofobia viralizou nas redes sociais. Um pastor dos Estados Unidos fez um discurso de ódio durante um evento evangélico em uma igreja de Brasília.
O culto evangélico causou polêmica nas redes sociais. O pastor dos Estados Unidos, David Eldridge, pregou durante o Congresso de Jovens da Assembleia de Deus discurso de ódio contra o público LGBTQIA+.
Todo homossexual has got a reservation in hell. Tem uma reserva no inferno. Every lesbian couple lésbica has got a reservation in hell. Tem uma reserva no inferno. Every transgender has got a reservation in hell. Every bisexual, todo bissexual has a reservation in hell. Every drag queen, every cross-dresser has got a reservation in hell.
O evento foi realizado no último domingo no pavilhão do Parque da Cidade. Em pé, os fiéis gritaram em reação às falas do pastor. Depois da pregação polêmica, o deputado distrital Fábio Félix afirmou que vai pedir investigação ao Ministério Público do DF e à Polícia Civil contra as falas homofóbicas do pastor estadunidense. Para o deputado, o discurso é criminoso.
É assustador não só o conteúdo, mas o método de pregação dessa liderança religiosa estrangeira. Isso não é liberdade religiosa ou liberdade de expressão. Isso é crime de ódio. Nós estamos falando de um dos países que mais mata LGBTs do mundo.
Desde 2019, o Supremo Tribunal Federal considera que atos preconceituosos contra homossexuais e transexuais devem ser enquadrados no crime de racismo.
A União de Mocidades da Assembleia de Deus de Brasília disse que não possui qualquer conhecimento prévio ou ingerência nas falas ou sermões de pregadores convidados que participam dos eventos.
O do Reino de Deus provoca polêmica e indignação em todo o país. Ele agrediu a imagem de Nossa Senhora Aparecida durante um programa religioso transmitido pela TV Record ontem em São Paulo.
coisa, porque eles nunca fizeram...
No dia da padroeira do Brasil, o pastor da Igreja Universal do Reino de Deus, Sérgio von Helder, resolveu protestar contra o feriado católico. Durante o programa que ele apresenta na rede Record de televisão, O Despertar da Fé, o pastor evangélico usou uma imagem de Nossa Senhora Aparecida para acusar a Igreja Católica de lucrar com a adoração de santos. E diante das câmeras, reforçou seus argumentos com gestos agressivos.
Nós estamos mostrando às pessoas que isso aqui, olha só, meu amigo, olha só, aqui, isso aqui não funciona aqui, isso aqui não é santo coisa nenhuma, isso aqui não é Deus coisa nenhuma, R$500, meu amigo, isso 5 salários mínimos, custa no supermercado essa imagem, e tem gente que compra. Agora, se você quiser também um santo, uma santa mais barato, você encontra até por 100, você encontra até por 100. Será que Deus, o Criador do universo, ele pode ser comparado a um boneco desse tão feio, tão horrível, tão desgraçado?
John Lennon um dia chegou diante das câmeras, pastor Reuel, bateu no peito e disse: os Beatles são mais populares do que Jesus Cristo. Jesus não era popstar como ele, mas sim o mestre de uma grande religião. John Lennon estava olhando para as câmeras dizendo: nós Beatles somos uma nova religião. A minha Bíblia diz que Deus não recebe esse tipo de afronta e fica impune. Passou algum tempo depois dessa declaração, está ele entrando no seu apartamento. Quando ele abre a porta e escuta alguém chamar ele pelo nome, ele vira e é alvejado com 3 tiros no peito. Eu queria estar lá no dia que descobriram o corpo dele. Ia tirar o pano de cima e ia dizer: me perdoe, John, mas esse primeiro tiro é em nome do Pai, esse é em nome do Filho, e esse é em nome do Espírito Santo. Ninguém afronta a Deus e sobrevive para debochar.
I'm sorry, you're Dr. Jenna Jacobs, right?
Yes, sir.
It's good to have you here.
Thank you.
The awesome impact of the airwaves and how that translates into the furthering of our national discussions, but obviously also how it can forgive me, Dr. Jacobs, are you an MD?
A PhD.
A PhD?
Yes, sir.
In psychology?
No, sir.
Theology?
No.
Social work?
I have a PhD in English literature.
I'm asking because on your show people call in for advice and you go by the name Dr. Jacobs on your show, and I didn't know if maybe your listeners were confused by that and assumed you had advanced training in psychology, theology, or healthcare.
I don't believe they are confused, no, sir.
Good. I like your show. I like how you call homosexuality an abomination.
I don't say homosexuality is an abomination, Mr. President. The Bible does.
Yes, it does. Leviticus
18:22.
Chapter and verse. I wanted to ask you a couple of questions while I had you here. I'm interested in selling my youngest daughter into slavery, as sanctioned in Exodus 21:7. She's a Georgetown sophomore, speaks fluent Italian, always cleared the table when it was her turn. What would a good price for her be? While thinking about that, can I ask another? My chief of staff, Leo McGarry, insists on working on the Sabbath. Exodus 35:2 clearly says he should be put to death. Am I morally obligated to kill him myself, or is it okay to call the police? Here's one that's really important, because we've got a lot of sports fans in this town. Touching the skin of a dead pig makes one unclean, Leviticus 11:7. If they promise to wear gloves, can the Washington Redskins still play football? Can Notre Dame? Can West Point? Does the whole town really have to be together to stone my brother John for planting different crops side by side? Can I burn my mother in a small family gathering for wearing garments made from 2 different threads? Think about those questions, would you? I'm just gonna take that crap off.
Perhaps just for today you will allow me to smoke immediately. When the New Yorker sent me to report on the trial of Adolf Eichmann, I assumed that the courtroom had only one interest: to fulfill the demands of justice. This was not a simple task, because the court that tried Eichmann was confronted with a crime it could not find in the law books, and the criminal whose like was unknown in any court prior to the Nuremberg trials. But still, the court had to define Eichmann as a man on trial for his deeds. There was no system on trial, no history, no ism, not even anti-Semitism, but only a person. The trouble with a Nazi criminal like Eichmann was that he insisted on renouncing all personal qualities, as if there was nobody left to be either punished or forgiven. He protested time and again, contrary to the prosecution's assertions, that he had never done anything out of his own initiative, that he had no intentions whatsoever, good or bad, that he had only obeyed orders. This typical Nazi plea makes it clear that the greatest evil in the world is the evil committed by nobodies. Evil committed by men without motive, without convictions, without wicked hearts or demonic wills, by human beings who refuse to be persons. And it is this phenomenon that I have called the banality of evil. Yes?
The persecution was aimed at the Jews. Why do you describe Eichmann's offenses as crimes against humanity?
Because Jews are human. The very status the Nazis tried to deny them. A crime against them is, by definition, a crime against Socrates and Plato. We usually call thinking to be engaged in that silent dialogue between me and myself. In refusing to be a person, Eichmann utterly surrendered that single most defining human quality, that of being able to think. And consequently, he was no longer capable of making moral judgments. This inability to think created the possibility for many ordinary men to commit evil deeds on a gigantic scale, the like of which one had never seen before. It is true, I have considered these questions in a philosophical way. The manifestation of the wind of thought is not knowledge, but the ability to tell right from wrong, beautiful from ugly. And I hope that thinking gives people the strength to prevent catastrophes in these rare moments when the chips are down. Thank you.